Follow the money. How hiring platforms profit from dysfunction. Labor market economics for the layperson. Hi, my name is Sarah Trumbull. I'm the founder and CEO of the Job Applicant Perspective, the first anonymous user reviews for job ads across the U.S. Think of it like Yelp in the world of professionally mandated fine dining with no health department, no FDA. Starting with Yelp, want to get to the Google Maps eventually, but hey. This is a level of go-to-market awareness as well as public service for the gaslighting. Being a paradigm shifter, you have to try to get your message out there to as wide a people as humanly possible, because that's how it works. But yeah, so I'm going to start from the beginning. This comes from a blog that is on Substack, being read by economists and journalists, whatnot, across the country. And I want to get this fight out there. Employers are shouting about a talent shortage. Job seekers are quietly drowning. 400 plus applications, 0 applies. Meanwhile, platforms hit record revenue highs. Imagine a toll road where the traffic never moves and the company running the road makes more money every time the cars pile up. This is not inefficiency. It is a market engineered to stay broken. Who this is for? This article is designed for anyone trying to make sense of why finding a job is impossible and why the hiring process has gotten so chaotic. Job seekers burned out by hundreds of unanswered applications, small business owners who can't compete with corporate job ad budgets, workforce boards and policymakers navigating record job and churn and struggling local economies, educators in training, providers trying to prepare people for a labor market designed to confuse. If you've ever wondered why your effort, skills, and time don't seem to match the outcomes you get, this is for you. Core thesis: labor markets are supposed to balance supply and demand. But removing one side's ability to make demands and the entire mechanism inverts. This is the fundamental fracture that occurred when hiring moved online. The newspaper model was a two-sided market. It lost credibility and money if it misled the labor force reading its ads. Online platforms, in contrast, profit from the distortion. The online labor market is built on fundamentally perverse incentives, functioning quite a bit more like an economic cancer than the vendors are supposed to in marketplaces. They're really not supposed to be cancerous, usually bad. Platforms profit when the hiring process is longest and least efficient. I've said it before, it's the Guinness Book of World Records, largest and most technologically advanced magic claw machine in reality. It profits the longer that its unpaid users don't find the outcome that they seek. Employers pay rising costs for access to a talent pool the platform itself makes opaque. Small businesses get priced out and sold out to box stores. Job seekers burn hundreds to thousands of hours on unpaid labor and purchase extra certifications, coaching, and applications just to get past automated gates. This is not a technical design failure. It is an economic design one. 3 major story threads. Platforms extract, markets starve. Platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter are not marketplaces. They're engaging with businesses. Their incentive model is upside down. Revenue grows with the volume of listings, applications, and clicks, not hires. Duplicate job postings, flood job boards, create false market signals. Honestly, how would you know on their way? It's a kaleidoscope. It's not a telescope. You can't know unless you know everyone's individual experience. Ghost job posting for roles already filled or never intended to be filled inflate opportunity stats while wasting millions of human hours. Data, according to the Wall Street Journal analysis, 1 in 5 job ads on major platforms are ghost jobs. Resume Builder survey found 40% of hiring managers admit posting roles that have no intention of filling. Winners are platforms and ATS vendors. Losers are employers, job seekers, and local economies. This is extraction disguised as opportunity. The talent shortage myth, the story of artificial scarcity. We're not witnessing a shortage of talent. We are witnessing a breakdown of discovery engineered by a system that profits from the illusion of scarcity. Yes, the narrative is powerful and pervasive. Employers can't find talent. Policymakers echo the crisis, and job seekers absorb it as a personal failure. Legit, it is not. It is not so hard at all. I mean, think about it this way. if you got a bunch of scenarios where you build a bunch of new restaurants and suddenly you couldn't find restaurant goers, is that a problem with the restaurant goer, or is that a problem with the fact that the restaurants aren't good? You know? Um, if you also are talking about 40% of people admitting to posting fake shoe ads on the internet, would you be talking about talent shortages or shoe buyer shortages? No, you wouldn't. You would know that the people who are posting the fake shoe ads created the outcomes that they were receiving. Yeah, they did that to themselves. The people who couldn't find anybody for your employees aren't good at finding people because they're not good at their jobs. That's all. But regardless, the gatekeeper code ATS filters that block up to 75% of applicants prefer human review. Harvard has done multiple studies on this. One famous one, Hit Workers on Top Talent, talk about this. The keyword trap, algorithmic fit scores that discard qualified humans for lacking the right buzzwords. Again, this HeadWorks talks about this, multiple places talk about this. The labor hoard, companies posting ghost pipeline rules and delaying offers, manufacturing a sense of scarcity to control the market. The truth is, in the contradiction, 8.8 million people are seeking work, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, and yet the system claims no one is qualified. Nonsense. This is not a market inefficiency, it's a De Beers level manipulation. Instead of locking diamonds away, the system locks talent out using systems it openly acknowledges they have no ability to adapt around. Opaque ATS algorithms and sub-recruiting failures, and then points to the invisibility as proof they were never there. Legit, the philosophy departments could pull apart these academic arguments like hard. The logic isn't logic at all. Hidden Workers openly agrees that job seekers had no ability to know what the algorithms were looking for, no ability to work around that, no ability to even know that anything was because of the ATS. And yet the problem is the talent? I don't think so. The problem is the market, demonstrably, obviously. Where the billions flow. When the labor market breaks, everyone pays except the industry that broke it. About a year and a half ago, I realized the issue in the market wasn't data. I did. I am background in linguistics, and I translate. But the problem here is a narrative about the data that's built on translating the labor market through hierarchy in an economics costume. That's all it is. It's not really economics. It's hierarchy in an economics costume. So, I don't dispute the data at all. I just need to reground it in actual economics. When you engage with the evidence through the true lens of economic first principles, the story doesn't just change, it reverses. Fortunately for me, I'm a gestalt language processor. Ideas come out of the middle. Gestalt style engagement. And so first principles, that's my jam. Yeah. And I mean, let me tell you, economically, there is no version of actual reality where extended and prolific systemic harm to half the market stakeholders and well over 90% of the users should be so openly profitable in a functional market. Not only profitable, but celebrated. That in and of itself, obviously, it's not a functional market. It's a hierarchy disguised as a market. It's authoritarianism, economic, disguised as a market. How platforms profit from the breakdown. Pay-per-click post model. They profit from the activity, not the outcomes. More applications, more clicks, more revenue, regardless of whether a single hire is made. Promoted listings, a toll booth on a broken road. Employers pay extra for the visibility they once took for granted. Data monetization, your desperation, your search history, applications, and rejections is packaged and sold as market intelligence. Hidden costs are pushed downstream for job seekers, time theft. Countless hours lost to ghost postings and black hole applications. Time is their only capital, and the system forces them to burn it for nothing while they can't pay rent or buy food right. The lack of ethics involved here are just astronomical. Credential inflation, the constant pressure to acquire new, often unpaid certifications just to be considered. The emotional tax, the systemic induction of shame, isolation, and burnout. The fact that we kick people into emotional isolation when they're financially down is, wow, impressive in terms of amoral. It doesn't have to be a gladiator pit. It could have been, online gaming. We could have done it that way. The fact that we did a gladiator pit, that because they were down, they deserved to be kicked, is I'm not a fan, you know. For employers, this is not good either. Ballooning recruiting budgets, forced to spend more to fight the very algorithmic noise the platforms themselves create, paying for failure, funding job ads and agency pipelines that often fail to deliver a real signal, and duplicating costs. These small business squeeze, local employers are drowned out by corporate giants with bigger ad budgets, accelerating economic inequality, like local childcare centers, pizza shops. For cities and taxpayers, housing instability and declining revenue, prolonged unemployment directly fuels housing crises and shrinks municipal tax bases. Spiraling safety net costs a direct surge in demand for food assistance, housing vouchers, and Medicaid subsidies. The bottom line, platforms capture the rent while cities, taxpayers, and households are left holding the bag of systemic risk. And again, I just don't systemically up to Kingdom Come almost everything here. And I can't go hardly any further, but I would like to suggest that I very much think the gig economy should be investigated from this line, because gig work, if you think about it, is nothing but churn. And churn is engagement with these online platforms. Guys, I don't think it's unrelated. I don't know that it's quite as, it's hard to say. I say so much already that it's important to be careful about. I haven't mapped out those causal connections in the same way, but it reads as interconnected. Regardless, it's already harm enough. It's already been documented for me to justify being very angry about this. But the global labor market does not operate like a market at all, and therein lies its dysfunction. It is tech Uber for connecting employers and job seekers, but one that operates as a tech monarch, and thus an George Akerlof lemon-creating factory, because it has no consequences for its bad behavior. By denying its stakeholders, the job seekers, the right to review the rides, the job ads they're required to take. I say this, I've said this before, the profit is in the pain when there's only one stakeholder. Profit is in the solution when there's two. Hierarchy in general, which is what it creates. It trains lack of empathy, so it creates hierarchy. Rewards the performance of strength. It trains lack of empathy. It's a red pill machine. Trains lack of empathy. Hierarchy rewards the performance of strength. But markets require the transmission of reality. Low empathy environments do not create stronger actors. They create systems that cannot perceive damage until collapse. What looks like toughness is often just information failure, wearing authority's costume. I'm quoting from my last work. Right. So it applies. I genuinely think this market discovered a way not to adapt. Discovered that it didn't need to adapt as long as it trained stakeholder one to feel disconnected from stakeholder two, to feel better than stakeholder two. And as long as it didn't need to, it trained this person to feel better than this person, it didn't need to adapt. It was a market that never required itself to adapt because it didn't try to connect stakeholders. It tried to monetize their disconnection. Overall, and I can't say if somebody intentionally did any of this, can be an emergent property of a lot of different circumstances. But regardless, that's what's happening, and that's what did happen. That's why we don't even think of it connected. In reality, every dollar that we spend on unemployment, SNAP, and welfare, in part a transfer payment to Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Greenhouse, Workday, and more, a continuous bailout for a system designed to profit more when it fails to connect people to the very labor that would make those benefits unnecessary. Why it matters? This isn't just a hiring problem. It's structural transfer of wealth. Macro level, billions flow upward, productivity stagnates. Micro level, small employers lose hiring power, platforms set the term of visibility. Civic level, cities hollow out when economic participation stalls. The dysfunctional labor market is not just a social crisis, it's a massive economic drag. For job applicants, if you felt like the hiring system was working against you, you're right. Yeah, that's true. It's not a talent shortage, it's an access problem, algorithmically engineered into the platforms. You are trying to make a rational choice in an irrational marketplace. Choosing a job ad is like the worst version of choosing a movie. Will the process last 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 months, never start, or be identity theft? Who knows? The ad won't say. You risk public ridicule just for pointing out that you couldn't already tell. You also risk public threats of loss of career prospects for describing what happened. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to your hiring process, like to your career. Wow. The lack of professionality from the market itself, just kiss. In reality, there is no version of actual professionalism, which should require professional career-seeking Americans to lend rampant fraud, circulate a system to affect fellow professionals in the tax space. It's economic nonsense. And whenever I get a pushback on the rampant fraud thing, I'm like, the only people who push back are the people who aren't using the market, who haven't studied it. Like, that's it. Genuinely, pretty much, the people who think the labor market works are the people who don't use it. Everybody who's using it isn't confused that it's working. Like, it's not confusing. As soon as someone tells me there's no rampant fraud in the market, I'm like, oh, you haven't studied it then, huh? That's cute. The global economy and the livelihood of Americans and small businesses across the country is being sacrificed on the altar of a narrative illusion, of a hiring norm that never actually existed. It just didn't exist. Job seekers were stakeholders before the market moved online. Newspapers always treated them that way. The fact that employers didn't know that is irrelevant. They always did. It's like saying employers didn't realize that Santa Claus wasn't real. It was always the parents bringing them the gifts. Santa Claus wasn't real. He still wasn't real. It was always the parents. Newspapers were always treating job seekers like a stakeholder. When you move the market online, you strip the ability to have two stakeholders. This is what happens. Platforms profit when applications say they were unpaid labor, market supplicants when digital platforms denied them the stakeholder status they once held. They removed the ability to take feedback from job seekers to adjust the market to meet job seeker needs. That's the end. They don't have to. It's not a harm for them to mislead job seekers. It's profit. And a magic claw for one end of the market is a magic claw for the other because it's the same market. It's the same market. You're in the same business. Nonetheless, the narrative illusion continues to pay financial and social dividends. Platforms profit when applications pile up and hiring drags on. Your wasted hours are their business model. That and the harm that this causes is also their social dividend. The system operates like a financial social Munchausen by proxy. It makes you poorer and more desperate and then points to your desperation as proof of your unworthiness. It is a closed loop of abuse that justifies its own existence by the outcomes of the financial psychological abuse that it itself creates. This is the kind of self-justifying moral reasoning Jonathan Haidt describes as a sacred narrative, where the system is always right and your failure is always your fault. Ghost jobs, endless certifications, and constant rejections are not bugs. They are the product. You're purchasing inefficiency or not meeting human needs by using this market, because if job seekers were a stakeholder, you would need user reviews in order to meet their needs, their human needs, because they're stakeholders. If they were a product, you would need user reviews in order to meet the system's needs to make it more efficient. The fact that you're not doing stakeholder user reviews means that you're not meeting stakeholder needs and you're not meeting system efficiency needs. That's what you're purchasing. They are the clickbait of the labor market. It doesn't matter if the ghost jobs are dead postings, active scans, corporate listings, brand advertising. They function identically. They keep you engaged, desperate, and trapped in a system that profits from your search, not your success. That's why we built the job applicant perspective. Because the solution to a market centered around employer needs is to stop listening or caring about them altogether and instead listen to each other. Legit. They don't notice. And also, here's the most important thing. When the focus of the market is on employer needs, the market delivers engagement. When the focus of the market is on job seeker needs, the market delivers resolution for employers too. Because job seeker needs are fine. You solve these, you will solve these. If you solve these, you'll just get more and more and more of these. It's because these guys have the money, so they'll just make it go again. These guys don't. If we solve these people's, it's counterintuitive, but I'm right. So there's that too. A job market so let me say it one more time. When the focus of the market is job seeker needs, When the focus of the market is employer needs, the market delivers engagement. When the focus of the market is job seeker needs, the market delivers resolution for employers too. A job market with crowdsourced reviews creates a fair platform where small businesses compete on qualities they stand out for, not just what they can offer. Radical efficiency, less wasted labor for applicants, better talent matching for employers. Informed choices, job seekers choose roles based on hiring experience, not just job title. Employers select tools based on user feedback, not just sales pitches. Reclaimed power, a space where job seekers regain transparency, dignity, and agency. Empathy. They can have empathy with each other. It doesn't need to be a gladiator pit. It can be communal gaming communities. Who better to regulate the market than the people whose survival depends on it? They are the only economic actors with the pure incentive to keep it free of the pollution that ghost jobs and spam clickbait represents. And in reality, the stories we do not tell are the people we do not protect and the stakeholders a market does not profit. Closing thought, we are here to move the job market from opacity to clarity. This is not about breaking the system. It's about honoring the truth that it's already broken. And so we can begin the work of repair. We stand at an impasse. Employers don't trust applicants, and applicants do not trust employers. Everyone carries hundreds of stories of bad faith. It does not matter if you agree with every story or not. It doesn't. What matters is that we acknowledge this shared reality of distrust as our starting point. So where do we begin? We start from zero. We just start from zero. We understand that it happened and it's real and it matters. It's not about convincing you that your reality isn't real. It's about honoring you that it is. For you, it's utterly real. You don't trust us. We don't trust you. All right. So how can we move it a little bit better? We aren't here to convince anyone that their reality is wrong. We're here to validate that the reality is real and be grateful for the opportunity to repair it bit by bit. A market that's just 1% more trustworthy than the current one represents 100% improvement in the human experience, in the efficiency experience. Every fractional gain in trust is a quantum leap in dignity and efficiency. The ultimate beauty of this system is that it is self-reinforcing. Trust begets better data, which begets better matches, which begets more trust. The beauty of an economic labor market like this isn't that it's more human and more efficient. It's inherently stable and self-justifying because an economic market with trust always is. Thank you. Please stop by. Please like, follow, and share with colleagues and others. I'm open to working with more grad students, want to model some of my data and kind of put this in more of correct epistemological terms with data sets and stuff. I don't know. I think that my work is important and theoretical and architectural and canonical, but I also think that things work better in conjunction and collaboration, and there's spaces where my blind spots are. I might be able to see a big blind spot in the field of economics, but I look forward to seeing where mine are too. This is how it goes. This is what it is. Yeah, I'm very excited. I like systems theory and economics. It's fun for me. If you like, follow, and share, stop by the job applicant perspective for anonymous user reviews. We want to help people identify ghost jobs, scam jobs, and other scam experiences. The goal is not perfect data, it's your data. And the goal is not to have perfect users, it's to have reliably imperfect ones, We're just trying to improve it 1% better at a time. So I hope you stop by. Thank you.